Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible stories ever told, the Samudra Manthan, or the Great Churning of the Ocean. It's this massive, universe-spanning epic full of gods, demons, and a desperate search for the one thing that could save them all, the nectar of immortality. But first, I want you to imagine something. Just for a second, what if you lost it all? Your strength, your power, your confidence, everything that makes you you, just gone. That feeling, that complete and utter powerlessness, well, that's exactly where our story kicks off, with the mighty demigods facing their absolute darkest hour. So, how in the world did they end up here? Well, it all started with one simple, careless mistake that led to a powerful curse and kicked off a universe-spanning quest for redemption. Okay, so picture this. The demigods are at the top of their game. They're powerful, respected, pretty much invincible. But, power can make you proud. And one day, their leader, Indra, gets a little too careless and disrespects a sacred garland from the powerful sage Durvasa. It was just a small moment of arrogance, but man, did it have big consequences. It triggered this devastating curse that just stripped them of everything: their strength, their fortune, their divine spark. All of it gone. And right there, bam, the story gives us its first big lesson. It's telling us that power without humility, it's fragile, it doesn't last. And that respect, it isn't just some nice-to-have virtue, it's like a shield that actually protects us. And just like that, they were weak, vulnerable. And their rivals, the Asuras, crushed them easily. Completely humbled and totally desperate, they finally realized how big their mistake was. With nowhere else to go, they went to the Supreme Preserver, Lord Vishnu, for help. You know what's so interesting about Vishnu's response? There's no scolding, no "I told you so," just guidance. It's such a powerful reminder of this timeless lesson. When we really, truly own our mistakes and just surrender, a path to help always opens up. So, Lord Vishnu lays out this plan, and it is absolutely audacious. He tells them they need to churn the entire ocean of milk to find Amrita, the nectar of immortality. But there was a huge problem. They were way too weak to do it by themselves. The plan required something completely unthinkable. They had to call a truce with their sworn enemies, the Asuras, and form an alliance to get this done. All right, so the plan is in place. The stage is set for one of the most massive events in all of mythology. Let's get right into the churn itself and see how this incredible thing actually went down. So you've got these two opposing teams lining up. The demigods, now humbled, they take the tail of the great serpent Vasuki. But the Asuras, still driven by ego and pride, they grab the head. See, they're all pulling together, but their reasons for being there are worlds apart. They start this huge effort pulling back and forth, and then disaster strikes. The massive mountain they're using as a churning rod, Mount Mandara, is just too heavy. It starts sinking right into the muddy ocean floor. The whole mission was about to fail before it even really started. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, something incredible happened. Lord Vishnu himself intervened. He took the form of a gigantic turtle, the Kurma avatar, dove to the bottom of the ocean, and lifted the entire mountain onto his back. He created a stable foundation and single-handedly saved the entire mission. This moment is so powerful. It's this beautiful reminder that sometimes when we're trying our best and our sincere effort just isn't enough, some kind of unseen support can show up to carry our burdens. The key is just to keep the faith and, well, keep pulling. So, the churning is stable now, everything's back on track, but the first thing that comes out of that ocean, it isn't treasure. No, it's something way more dangerous. This next phase is all about poison, amazing treasures, and a little bit of divine trickery. The very first thing to rise up from the depths wasn't some jewel or magical item. It was a terrifying, all-consuming poison known as hala hala. And listen, this wasn't just any poison. We're talking about a world-ending threat. Its toxic fumes started to spread everywhere, threatening to suffocate all of existence. The universe itself actually began to burn. Gods, demons, everyone fled in absolute terror. In this moment of total crisis, only one being could possibly help: Lord Shiva. And without even a second of hesitation, Shiva did the unthinkable. He gathered all of that cosmic poison and drank it. His wife, the goddess Parvati, rushed to his side and pressed his throat, trapping the poison right there. It saved the entire universe, but it stained his throat blue forever, earning him the name Nilkanth, the one with the blue throat. Now, just think about what this means. Before any reward could be found, the greatest poison had to be dealt with first. And it wasn't defeated by power or force, but by the ultimate act of self-sacrifice. It's such a profound lesson in what real greatness and leadership actually look like. With that terrible danger gone, the churning finally started to produce wonders. Divine treasures started emerging from the depths. Kamadhenu, the wish-granting cow. Airavata, this magnificent white elephant. And finally, the goddess Lakshmi herself, the goddess of fortune, who chose Lord Vishnu as her eternal partner. The treasures were amazing, for sure, but they weren't the main prize, not even close. Let's get to the climax of our story, the arrival of the Amrita, the nectar of immortality itself. And then, finally, there he was. The divine physician Dhanvantari rose up from the ocean holding that coveted pot of Amrita. For a split second, there was hope. But then the Asuras, just blinded by their greed, snatched the pot and took off. It looked like brute force had won the day. But Lord Vishnu stepped in one last time. And this time, not with might, but with his mind. He took the form of Mohini, this enchantingly beautiful being. She didn't fight the Asuras, who were already arguing over the nectar. Instead, she used her charm and her intelligence to calmly convince them to let her distribute it fairly. It's the perfect example of how intelligence will always outsmart brute force. The Asuras weren't beaten with a weapon. They were beaten by their own distraction. It just goes to show you that truth is often protected in the most mysterious ways. And of course, Mohini cleverly made sure that only the demigods drink the Amrita. Instantly, their strength, their confidence, their immortality, it was all restored. They finally defeated the Asuras and brought balance back to the universe. The great quest was finally complete. But here's the thing, this has always been so much more than just some ancient story. It's actually a powerful metaphor for our own lives, and the lessons here are absolutely timeless. Because this story of the great churn, it's really the story of your life. All of us, we're constantly churning. We're pulled between our good impulses and our negative ones, our teamwork and our conflicts. We all have to face the poison of failure or negativity before we can ever find the treasures of wisdom and success. So, I'll leave you with this one thought. Your life is an ocean. And right now, you are in the middle of your own great churn. So the real question is, what nectar? What goal, what success are you churning for? And what poisons are you willing to face to go out and get it?